Good morning, Senator Lucio. How are you?
Good morning.
This is Tama Lundquist from Houston PetSet. I'm one of the co-presidents with Tina Lundquist-Faust. I'm also co-president of Houston PetSet, and we're so glad to have you today. Thank you for joining us. We had a
Thank
big,
you.
thank you,
It's good
yeah.
to be here, and I want to thank you for the work you do. As it is so important for us to discuss this issue and let the people of Texas know what is going on, not only at the Capitol but in areas around the state where people are really addressing the needs of our pets, especially as it relates to their safety and abuse. Hopefully, non-abuse.
Oh, you're so right. You're so right. And, it is important to have those laws to protect the animals because we found living in Houston that the police can't take care of the animals when they see them being abused or neglected. And so they need those laws to help them support the care that they want to give those animals. So thanks to you, you were the author of the SB 5 last year that passed in Governor Abbott's I guess his journey down passing bills and vetoing them and passing them again. Do you want to talk a little bit about that journey and what it was like
Well,
for you?
it's been a long process, as you all know. I'm sure you kept up over the last few years. We've addressed some very important issues dealing with animal abuse, or dog abuse, and we have passed some pretty good bills. But this one was landmark. I mean, this was going to really set the stage for true reform in how we see our animals treated. Many times we would get people calling in or writing us, maybe stopping us when we shopped at Walmart or wherever we were, and say, I see a lot of abuse in dogs. I'm a mailman, and they're out there, no water, they're chained up with heavy chains, they're in the sun, and those things bothered me just like they bother you. So we went to work with advocates like yourself from every corner of the state, and the result was this last year's bill, Senate Bill 5, as you mentioned, that took a while, and the first round go around, the governor even vetoed it, but uh, I think it was probably it wasn't the governor, but probably someone maybe on staff that recommended that the bill, had some flaws in it. So he gave us a chance to bring it back, and we redid it a little bit here and there, tweaked it as the saying goes, and the end result was that it passed the House and the Senate unanimously, just
Yeah.
about. I don't remember anybody voting against it, quite frankly, because so many people were out there. Some even drove to Austin to make sure that we got that bill passed. So
Wow.
I'm here just letting everyone know that we're very grateful to all of you because you're the reason the bill passed.
Well, it is always a group effort in getting these bills passed, and so few bills ever pass the legislature in Texas. And so this one truly is a unicorn because it was vetoed and then it came back and passed. And I don't know what percentage in the history of bills that has happened in Texas, but it's got to be fewer than a percentage point. So it
Exactly.
it is the unicorn, and we're so glad that if it was going to happen, it was a bill for the animals. And you've been a huge advocate over the years, and we're so grateful to you. When you first got into office, were you interested in animal welfare at that time? Has that always been a part of your platform?
I can remember not having a dog or cat around, mostly dogs, German Shepherds, Cocker Spaniels, mutts, as we
Mm-hmm.
call it, anything. We love dogs, and I was one of 10 kids. We're all seniors now, but we had dogs
Mm-hmm.
growing up, and we love our dogs. We couldn't wait to get home after school to play with them,
Oh, yes.
and you know it. Yes, I was always interested. We fed the stray dogs that would go by, and we did everything we could, and I still do that. Quite frankly, my staff kind of they kind of make poke fun at what I do. I stop to put gas in the car, and I see a stray a dog or a cat, and I try to feed them whatever I have, and then I said, no, I could have done better. So I make that U turn around in the highway, come back, I buy a can of food, and I put it somewhere where they can eat it. And sometimes I buy two cans. And my staff would say, why do you buy two? I said, because it looked like he hadn't eaten for a while. And I
Yeah.
don't know what next meal is going to happen.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure. I wish I had a cage. I probably would pick them up and adopt them or take them to the vet. But that's what I do back home. And I go to the animal shelter. We've adopted dogs. We just love them, and they're part of our lives.
Exactly. You bring up a really good point that you can be almost anywhere in Texas and it's not what is
You
that?
see that?
Oh, look
wow.
at them. Is that at the shelter?
That's no, that's in my home.
A mini shelter.
I build shelters for them. I have
Bless
oh,
you.
I put stands where the water, will not be flipped over.
Sure.
I do things that people don't even
think
think
about.
about doing
Wow.
How many?
because I want to make sure they always have clean water. And I get after a couple of workers I have, and it says that water has to be clean, just like the one you like to drink, clean water.
Don't ask him
And make
anything.
sure
he
they
can't
eat.
answer.
They eat. When we eat, they eat. And anyway, I have a good time. I have three big German shepherds right now, huge. They're beautiful, and we also have two dogs that I adopted at the animal shelter there in Brownsville. I have about 11 cats. I need to maybe put a stop and spade a couple of them, but because they're wonderful. But most of them are kind of wild. They come in to eat and then they go back out. I live out in the country,
Yeah.
but they come in for dinner time, lunchtime, breakfast. They're waiting for me, and we feed them. Walmart, I think, has a lot of my money because of food. And other stores, Tractor and Supply. I try to buy food wherever I can get it, good food,
Yeah.
nutritious food.
Well, you bring up another good point in that they need us to survive. These are not squirrels or raccoons. They're domesticated, so they need us. So the fact that we do have so many strays in this state running
Yes.
around and with no care, they need the love, they need the care, they need shelter. Thanks to you, there's now a law that says that they have to have that shelter. So we definitely have some more work to do, but we're so grateful for this one giant step to protect the animals and give them that one thing that they need, a couple things that they need just to survive. And hopefully we're showing the state too that we have to care for them. They just can't be there like a wildlife animal, that they are part of the family and they need to be treated as such. So passing these laws is that unspoken message, and it also gives our law enforcement agencies and anybody coming into contact with people who aren't caring for their dogs the tools to educate them that, hey, this is now a law, and it's an opportunity to educate, I guess. And then if we can't change it through education, then we enforce the legislation. So we're a couple of minutes through, and so we'll just reintroduce you. This is Senator Lucio from Brownsville, Tina Lundquist-Faust, and Tama Lundquist,
Co-presidents.
Houston Pet Set.
Co-presidents of Houston Pet Set, and we're talking to Senator Lucio today because he's been a longtime advocate for animals in Texas and has done a lot to advance legislation that helps protect animals. So, Senator Lucio, we made a big giant step last session. What do you see as kind of the future for animals in Texas? Do you think that we'll continue to make improvements? And I'll add another question. Why do you think that in the South we have more strays than we do in the northern parts of our country?
Okay, there's That's a very good question. It's a loaded question, and I like that question because I ran into Chancellor John Sharp in Texas A&M. John and I are very dear friends for many, many years. And, as far as I can remember, back in the 70s, some of the people maybe listening weren't even born yet. I told him of the problems that we have with families who are really impoverished or poor, but they love their animals. They can't afford to go to the vet. I'd like for you to look to see if you can set up a program whereby your vet program that you have at A&M can somehow offer some kind of services that will help these families get the dogs vaccinated and address some of the problem, the healthcare needs for those dogs. It'll be healthier for the family. It'll be healthier, good for the community. He's doing that. Dr. August from from the department that works on the medical school has come down on a couple of occasions. He came down last week, as a matter of fact. And the Humane Society in Harlingen, and I would ask you to please contact them.
Okay.
They're doing things that I think are the future.
Wow.
In other parts of the state. Working with A&M, my request, I think, has been something that has brought new opportunities for families to count on our universities, in this case, A&M. Who knows best than those running our vets
Right.
in our state? So we're doing that, and there's other things I think in the future that could be made possible through that collaboration, not only with A&M, but with people like you in other parts of the state. We need to come together and share what we're doing. That way we can make things better.
Well, and we need best practices for Texas. Sometimes the national best practices don't work here. And we have found that when we have national groups that come in and try to tell us what it looks like in terms of how to care for animals or how to solve this problem. But we feel like we know, we've been here. We've been doing this decades. You've been doing this decades. We know what the solution is. We just, as you said, need collaboration. We need best practices, and we need to share all of those. And we would love an intro.
And we in the legislature need to listen to you.
Yeah.
I'm retiring this year, but I'm going to continue to be an advocate. Believe me.
Fabulous.
I'm working with the Humane Society here in Harlingen. I'll be working with anyone who needs me. I will support your efforts no matter where you call me from in Texas, because I think it's something that I want to do in my lifetime. And I'm pro-life for people, but I'm also pro-life for animals.
Yeah.
And the reason there's a lot of dogs out there running straight is because we have, unfortunately, owners that get tired of them or don't want to deal with them anymore, and they drive out in the country and they dump them. That is horrific. It's beyond my comprehension how somebody could be so mean-hearted to their animals. Give it up for adoption. Take it to the Brownsville Clinic. Take it to the animal shelter. Take it wherever you can go and take it to, instead of just dropping them off somewhere like a piece of trash.
Yeah.
It's something that should not happen, and it's happening. And I think we need to take that up, and someone needs to address that issue in the future.
Well, we need more resources in our city, our county. We need open intake, meaning our shelters need to be open at all times to take in animals. And right now we have something called managed intake or intake by appointment. So if somebody does have to relinquish an animal or finds them on the street, there's not an option for Houstonians to take that animal. They have to wait 2, 3, 4 weeks sometimes, and that's not always possible. So again, these national best practices don't work in areas where we have what we call an animal crisis. So your voice needs to be heard. You understand this. My wheels are spinning because I feel like we need to bring you into the Houston Pet Set family. And we can talk about that later, but we agree that we need to work collaboratively. We would love to work with A&M. We would love to work with other vet schools and really get to the bottom of this. We think this is solvable, and I think that you would probably agree with us, and we need to continue to work strategically while protecting the animals.
I think it's a mental thing. We need to make people understand that they're part of our family. We love them. My wife's still in mourning. We lost a Chihuahua about 4 weeks ago. We had Crystal for 14 years, and baby's still around. Her name was Chiquita, but she's so small that my wife named the kids, my grandchildren named her Baby. So now Baby is all alone. She's lonely. I'm getting ready to go find another dog, so we can have. Those are our inside dogs.
Yeah.
And here's Crystal on the right, the white one, and that Chiquita, the little brown one. Can you see that?
Yes, tiny little one.
That
so
the
sweet.
white one, Crystal, she passed away. I buried her back in the backyard.
I'm so
And the other
sorry.
to her right is Chiquita.
Yeah.
She's still alive, and she just runs around all over the place. But I know she's lonely, so I might go by and surprise my wife. I think it'd be healthy for me to do. I think it'd help her.
Yeah.
She's been a little ill, and she's hurting because Crystal was her, just part of her life.
Yes, yeah. That's a true heartache.
Yeah.
So, as Tina said, we'd love to bring you to the Houston Pet Set family in some way, just at least talk to you, and you also have that knowledge, the working knowledge of what goes on in the state capitol, where so many important things happen that define our culture, because without those laws we don't have the culture. So again, we look forward to working with you, talking with you, keeping the line of communication open, hopefully very soon connecting with A&M. We would really like to talk to them as well. So
I'm going to be retired by the end of the year, but I will still be around. I'm going to be very active. I have a ministry that I'm taking up to helping children that are at risk in our schools, children with special needs, hungry families, all of the above that I learned growing up as in a family of 10. We learned so many things from our parents. We learn to share, and I think that's the most important thing, and to be good neighbors. But we also had our dogs, and we loved our dogs back then. And we're renaming the dogs that we had when we were young, the dogs of the present.
That's sweet. They have a
Yes.
legacy through your
Yes.
new dogs. Yes, we know you're going to be retiring, but if you were to stay in office, or if you were to advise, what laws do you think should come next for the animals of Texas, for the dogs and cats of Texas?
That's a very good question, and I was thinking of some kind of registrar where people could actually register their dogs, and we would know, who owns dogs in certain parts of the city, and we would have a population number. I know it's hard to keep up, so it would be dogs that maybe 2 or 3 years old or older. Or 1 year old and older, but because there's new litters of dogs and cats, and so it's hard to keep up. But we need to make an attempt to do that, though. We need to have more information about the animal kingdom in our communities, no matter what they are. We should have some kind of registration where people can actually look at the internet, and the cities can and make sure they use that information for good purposes. And I think that's what we should do. But that's the next major step.
Yes.
Just like we have a census every 10 years, we have a year-to-year census, I think, and adding to those populations, just so we'll know, what we're dealing with, and that way we'll have a better understanding what our responsibilities are. And the last thing I want to say is, we need to take on the responsibility when we do acquire a dog. It's like a member of the family. We need to invest in shelter. I have, they're warm in the wintertime, they're cool in the summertime, my dogs, because if we don't do that, then obviously they will hurt.
Yes.
And I think I want to see our animals hurting. So I hope and pray that we can see a new day where people will be more respectful of the lives of our animals and not mistreat them, ignore them, or punish them in any way because they do a dog's thing, or a cat. We have to be.
We always say that too, just doing their dog things. I'm thinking about your registrar, and I think that would be very important for the breeders, any breeders. We know there are really good breeders out there, and they do a great job, and they're conservative and careful, but we know there are a lot of breeders who are not, and there's a big pipeline of breeders that start at puppy mills, and then they've got their little distribution people, and then they wind up in pet stores. So I'm wondering if that registrar, and that's where the majority, we think a majority of the animals come from, the sick animals, the ones that wind up in the shelters. And so I'm wondering if that registrar might not be important, very important for those breeders, to make sure that they're treating their animals properly as well.
That's right. And I think what people listening, work with your legislators in the legislature, whoever your legislator is, know him by his first name. I like to be called Eddie. That's my name. And just make sure they understand what you want them to do for you and for your family and your community. That's what it takes. And sometimes we don't do that, and we find ourselves just meeting our legislator for the first time after he or she's been in office 4 or 8 years. And once they know you, they're going to listen to you.
Yeah, and it's quite easy. Once we got into this, it used to be a little daunting to reach out to the legislator, but it is easy to do. So thank you for making it so easy for us to reach out to you, to always listening to your constituents and your heart, for being compassionate, not only to people, but to the animals as well. And thank you for that, Bill. It's so important for the work that we do as a group, for all our rescue groups, for the law enforcement agencies, and for our community. We're very, very grateful.
Thank you, Senator Lucio.
Down at South Padre Island in one of these days and stop by, because I'm on the main highway that goes to South Padre. I'm in the process of hopefully building a barnuminium, and I got special kennels for my German Shepherds and for the other dogs, where they can actually put their head in through some wiring to drink water without putting their paws and everything in the water. I got stories that I can tell you. I've learned a lot. And I make adjustments every day so that they can have a better quality of life, and so they won't mess up my golf cart.
Well, it's been a pleasure, and it feels like we could talk forever, and we'll actually be in touch because we do want to talk with you more. So thank you so much, Senator Lucio. You're a gift to us and to the animals.
God bless you all.
God bless you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.